wouldn't he?
Interview with President Biden, who honored these heroes today, and the poignant moment at the Normandy American Cemetery here with President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden.
Baby bro, will you say that China is cruel and in the wrong when they are forced to attack Taiwan? If they do, yes. Baby bro. Yeah, dude. You just said forced to attack Taiwan. Is Taiwan just Chinese Taipei? If so, why is China attacking more China? You said baby bro. I think ultimately the Chinese strategy of just letting America do its insanity all around the world and just kind of kicking back and being a dominant global power through trade agreements and economic cooperation has been pretty good so far. If they wanted to invade China, if they wanted to invade Taiwan, don't you think that? I mean, look, this is not a prediction at all, but obviously the most opportune time to invade Taiwan would have been, early October.
What we noticed on one of the crosses.
Is there a solution just to keep the status quo? I think yes, that is the best possible solution. Especially considering that while the Taiwanese people, the Taiwanese population if given the option between independence and being a part of mainland China, choose independence, the majority of the population, the overwhelming majority of the Taiwanese population still wants not to rock the boat, considering that, there are so many Taiwanese people that work in China, vice versa. Taiwanese people are still Chinese, and they see themselves as Chinese as well as Taiwanese, and see Chinese prosperity as not the worst thing in general. They don't like the CCP. I would say it's different than Ukraine in that regard as well.
And the remarkable exchange here between President Zelensky today and a World War II veteran who told Zelensky, "You are a savior of the people." Zelensky said, "No, you saved Europe." But we begin tonight with our exclusive interview with President Biden. Ukraine, Russia, the president closing the U.S.-Mexico border. I asked him, why not sooner? The president on Donald Trump's guilty verdict and on his own son, Hunter Biden's trial. I asked, would he pardon his son? But we started with the significance of this day, our interview with Omaha Beach right behind us. It's not lost on us where we are today, what these brave young American sons did 80 years ago. And we know what we're witnessing in the world right now, the wars, the deep divisions at home. What do you think these American heroes can teach us right now about meeting this moment?
Stand up, tell the truth, serve your country. Imagine what they had to come through. I was here 30 years ago, came in on a landing craft. You could see from out there what they saw here. The idea that they got off those boats, they got off those landing craft. Many of them died. It's just astounding. It's astounding. But what it says to me is how critical alliances are. How critical alliances are for our security.
You talk about those alliances. I wanted to ask you about Ukraine. I know for years you resisted the idea of American weapons being used for any sort of direct strike inside Russia. But we did witness this shift in recent days, authorizing American weapons for limited direct strikes. Are American weapons being used right now inside Russia?
They're authorized to be used in proximity to the border. We're not authorizing strikes 200 miles into Russia. We're not authorizing strikes on Moscow, on the Kremlin.
Does this at all concern you, though, that it could not only escalate the war between Ukraine and Russia, but draw the U.S., the West into this in a much larger way?
It theoretically could, but it's not likely. Look, the idea that Russia, this juggernaut that is absent nuclear weapons, is
It'd be so easy to be China's leader. Just leave Taiwan alone and say to Putin, get the fuck out of Ukraine. History books would say great words about him or her. I love people who just fucking put the word commie in their username and then say such laughable things like this. China could be the good guy and end this shit everywhere right now. Yeah. I assume you're like a little child, right? Like a little baby. Like, what the fuck are you saying? Following since 2020. Yeah. Definitely. It would be super easy to be China's leader. Just leave Taiwan alone. I don't know if you've looked at a map, but the Taiwanese airspace, depending on your personal considerations, could literally directly be mainland China. Why shouldn't they leave Taiwan alone? America should leave Taiwan alone then, don't you think? You're like, no, it's a given that America like will not leave Taiwan alone. Hassan scared of the question? No, I'm serious. So just let Taiwan collapse, right? Because you love China. Is that what I said? I am of the mindset, alongside the majority of the Taiwanese population, of not rocking the boat and turning Taiwan into another version of Ukraine for the fancy and the interest of America and its endless war against other dominant global powers. Is Taiwan collapsing? What the fuck are you talking about?
conventional juggernaut. You know how many troops they've lost so far? 350,000 dead or wounded without a single.
It's also funny because, like, this is not even the American State Department position. The American State Department recognizes Chinese Taipei as a part of more China. It's just that there's this thing that America has called, since the Nixon era, strategic ambiguity, which the layman will understand as lying, where they're like, yeah, no, actually, we recognize the Chinese government. We recognize the People's Republic of China. And we will continue recognizing China as one China. Except, while that is our official position, we will consistently, throughout the White Terror, as JT recognized and mentioned, and beyond, continue giving as many weapons as possible to the early fascists, who ironically now are no longer the anti-China party in Taiwan, mind you. Like, the KMT's position has changed throughout the years. And as far as I understand, the KMT position is now more continued relations with China, whereas the current party that won is super anti-unification. Yeah. The fascists are now no longer, like, the original fascist party is no longer interested in complete isolation and is more seen as more pro-unification than this pro-American party. To be fair, dude, is there a reason why you do this every day? I legitimately want to know, because this is from yesterday and you're doing it again, or this is from yesterday. Like, are you lonely? Do you want me to pay attention to you? Do you feel sad? Like people don't acknowledge you or something? Like, you do this every day, bro. This is from the 5th, 2 days ago. And you started asking, why am I always eating, before I started eating too. Yes, I'm very sad. Okay, well then stop fucking saying this over and over again in the chat, because you're going to be more sad when you can no longer type in the chat. Okay?
American troop being engaged by supplying the Ukrainians with the weapons they need.
Let me ask you about what Vladimir Putin said last night about this authorization of American weapons inside Russia. He said the supply of high-precision weapons to Ukraine for strikes on Russian territory is direct participation in this war, and again talked about Russia's nuclear capabilities. Does that concern you?
I've known him for over 40 years. He's concerned me for 40 years. He's not a decent man. He's a dictator, and he's struggling to make sure he holds this country together while still keeping this assault going. We're not talking about giving them weapons to strike Moscow, to strike the Kremlin, to strike just across the border, where they're receiving significant fire from conventional weapons used by the Russians to go into Ukraine to kill the Ukrainians.
I want to turn to Israel. It was 1 week ago you stood before the American people, before the world, with this ceasefire proposal. You urged Hamas to accept it. The first phase of this is a temporary ceasefire to get hostages out, including Americans. But it hasn't happened yet. And I'm curious, is Benjamin Netanyahu...
How would Americans feel if China said, shouldn't we start supporting Cuba if they want to start military bases in Cuba? Wait, what? That is already happening. No, a better analog would be Puerto Rico. Cuba is a sovereign nation. It would be if China was like, hey, actually, we're going to build military bases in Puerto Rico. We think Puerto Rican independence is important. We want to defend Puerto Rican democracy. Guam even? Wait, what do you mean? Guam is already an American military base. YouTuber Nico Omalana, who previously ran and came 5th in the 2021 Mayor of London election, is running against Rishi Sunak in Richmond and North Allerton seat. Oh my God. Puerto Rico is a colony, so not even this works. Yeah, but it's like Puerto Ricans are American citizens still. You know?
Netanyahu fully on board with what you proposed before the world?
He's publicly said he is. Our European friends are in on it. We have to get a ceasefire.
But on this relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu, you have said repeatedly that Israel has every right to defend itself, that America stands with Israel. But you also have at times said the response has been over the top, were your words. You warned about Rafah. We've seen what's happened inside Rafah. You're aware the weapons experts looked at the bomb that was used, some of the weapons that were used that killed civilians at that camp, and determined some of those weapons were American made. Is Benjamin Netanyahu listening to you?
Nope.
I think he's listening to me. They were going to go into Rafah full bore, invade all of Rafah, go into the city, take it out, move with full force. They haven't done that. And what they've done is they've agreed to a significant agreement that if in fact Hamas accepts it, and look, it's being backed by Egypt, being backed by the Saudis, being backed by almost the whole Arab world. We'll see. This is a very difficult time.
Let me ask you about one of the major issues back home, immigration, and your executive action in recent days on the U.S.-Mexico border. As we sit here today, that border has...
Taiwan has no chance of fighting China, no matter how many more missiles or jets we sell them. Meanwhile, the real threat for China is Japan. It is getting pushed into a corner in the region by USA military bases. That part is true, which is why one of the key negotiations between Xi Jinping and Brandon when he came to San Francisco was specifically that. China has also escalated its nuclear proliferation program in recent years as a direct counter to the Japanese defense industry being revitalized in a country that previously, for historic reasons, has not been so militant post-World War II. And therein lies the problem. This was legitimately a point of contention that was discussed in the San Francisco agreements, where Xi Jinping said, we will not continue our nuclear proliferation as long as you do not increase Japan's defenses, like its defense industry. Should China just let part of the country go forever? Let the U.S. interfere in China's internal affairs? Taiwan's new government change the education to remove any Chinese ties from history. Future generations will not consider themselves as Chinese, and reunification will be impossible the longer China waits. Dude, I don't know how to describe this to you, but I don't really care about like the actual national boundaries that one country has decided it should have. Lama Fayal, what is Japan going to conscript as retirement homes? No, but like the Japanese defense industry would be, kind of scary. A lot of Philippines trouble stirring also. I think it's most likely the Philippines could be the next Ukraine, more so than Taiwan. I think the Philippine Maoist movement should thrive and control the country. Why shouldn't Japan build their defense forces right now? Bro, this guy, again, commie in the name, literally been here since 2020. And weirdly enough, he's just like, China could be the good guys by, exerting influence on Russia. Also, why shouldn't Japan build their defense forces? I don't know. Why shouldn't Germany build their defense forces? Investigate that question. Really, investigate that question a little bit. Why shouldn't Japan and Germany build their military forces up again and their defense industry up again? He's digging for a hypocrisy. I wish he would just come out. I know, but like, I'm not in favor of war in general, and especially not. They should, like, we are also in Finland here. Yes, thank you. Oh my God. Anytime I hear from a Finnish social democrat, I literally start pushing Z. Like, I get closer and closer to the Russian position that Finland should have been a part of the USSR. Like, it literally makes me, it makes me push Z in my mind. I swear to fucking God. Finnish social democrats, shut the fuck up, okay? Please. Isn't one of the main reasons China feels threatened by American presence in Taiwan is not a sense of nationalism, but a very real fear of nuclear weaponry? Yes, that's why I was talking to that other chatter as far as like nationalistic sentiment not being expressed in Taiwan or sufficiently nationalistic is not a consideration of mine. But I do understand why a sovereign nation would not feel comfortable having a fucking military base 100 miles off the coastline / the direct water line having, like the closest Taiwanese piece of land to China is 1 mile off the coastline. The island itself is like 100 miles off, but airspace wise, it literally is Chinese mainland airspace. Like they intersect. Why the hate for sock them's got to be a better outlet? Shut the fuck up. Every Euro cuck that is like, that puts the American dick in their asses before they wake up every morning, literally just chime in and go, "Oh, I feel very disrespected, y'all. Why are you saying this about this social democratic way of governance, y'all? I don't understand it. Why can't we be as militant as America? Listen, we are a nation of rules, yeah? Please." It's crazy, man. Yeah, this is why I warned you literally fucking 5-6 years ago that like the same kind of brain rot that is occurring in your countries or that you're laughing at here in America is going to come into your fucking doorstep. And you were like, "Oh, nine, that will never happen. We have social safety nets here. You do not understand. We have social safety nets here in Europe. It will never happen to us. You're so stupid." Huh. Stupid Americanish. Meanwhile, they don't even realize that they're being captured completely.
Has been shut down between legal ports of entry. In January, you were asked if there was anything else you could do about the border, and you said, "I've done all I can do." What changed here, and why did you do this back then?
Because we had a deal. We had a compromise that was organized and run by a very conservative senator from the state of Oklahoma, a Republican, and Democrats, and they sat for 4 weeks. They came up with a proposal.
Why would we not want to support a small country that wants to defend themselves from imperialism by a large neighbor? When has America done that? Literally when? Do you think that's what's going on in Ukraine? In this exact scenario, and yes, Ukraine, thanks. Yeah, things are going really well for Ukraine. Things are going really fucking well for Ukraine. Yeah, let's turn Taiwan into Ukraine is not the fucking wonderful prospect that you think it is. I'm genuinely shocked that we're literally looking at the Ukrainian population going from 44 million to 32 because at least 10 million people escaped Ukraine after Russia invaded, and being like, you don't understand, like, this is actually wonderful. This is like fire. You're so stupid. Why don't you live there, bro? This is the problem that I don't understand. Americans always love playing armchair general and defending for free the State Department and its interests. And I never understand. Go fight. I don't know why you're chirping in here. You should be joining the motherfucking Foreign Legion. Why are you here? Why are you in my chat? Go fight for their independence, dude. Oh my God, look. The Finnish one, commie, whatever the fuck. Actually, isn't it good for Ukraine to not be killed? Yeah, of course it's not good for Ukraine to be killed. That's precisely why I'm saying that there should be no fucking war in Ukraine in general. Okay, and then Danish chair. Should we just let Russia take over? Like every single Eurocuck is chirping right now. When you look at the situation, is China invading Taiwan? Is there an invasion? Is there an active invasion in Taiwan? No. So if so, don't you think that continuing the current existing relationship instead of trying to disrupt that process and turn Taiwan into a threat to China is not the fucking best decision? Don't you understand that you are literally you are in your mind saying China's going to invade any moment. What we need to do is like make sure that Taiwan is going to I guess invade China instead. The comparisons don't make any sense in this circumstance because China is not invading Taiwan. You're fantasizing about a potential Chinese invasion of Taiwan, which, by the way, by our own State Department would be considered more China. China would be invading Chinese Taipei in that regard. That's not my assessment of the situation. That is the assessment of the American government since the Nixon era. Okay? And it's so shocking that every single Eurocuck is automatically like, look at what's going on in Ukraine. Shouldn't Taiwan get a little bit of that beautiful independence themselves? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Things in Taiwan are objectively better right now than they would be if Taiwan turned into Ukraine. This shit makes me so mad. Oh. Here.
On Taiwan, I reiterated the long-standing U.S. One China policy. That policy has not changed. It's guided by the Taiwan Relations Act, the 3 joint communiques, the 6 assurances. We do not support Taiwan independence. We remain opposed to any unilateral changes to the status quo by either side. We continue to expect the peaceful resolution of cross-strait differences. We remain committed to meeting our responsibilities under the Taiwan Relations Act, including making sure that Taiwan has the ability to defend itself.
It's unreal how many Americans really believe the propaganda that they're running around the globe just helping everyone. I know. It's like shocking to me. Especially right now as at the top of the hour, there is a impending doom for so many unsubscribed people, including yourself, the Coop. Because you're going to get hit with a 3-minute ad break right now. But you're right. I shouldn't have used you as a fucking bait. But at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break nonetheless. So we're helping Taiwan defend itself and Taiwan is China. Then are we helping China defend Taiwan? Yes. Some leftists, for some reason, forgot about how bilateral disarmament contracts have been the only way peace was reached. They find themselves arguing for more armament race. Stocking more and more weapons and bases in Taiwan will not make Taiwan safer. It's because they're not real. They're not leftists. They're just aesthetically radical. They want to see themselves as like not something lame like ew, yuck, American liberals. They're something cool. They don't want to be seen as like lame ass libs. They want to be seen as like something cool and different and radical, maybe progressive. And how can you maintain that aesthetic? Oh, well, you know, I'm actually fucking I'm a socialist, I'm a commie, I'm a social democrat, I'm an anarchist, but also I firmly believe that America is the spreader of democracy around the world, and that's why they are in the most democratic ways possible, seemingly out of the goodness of their hearts, trying to turn Taiwan into an American military base. Yeah. And that everyone should actually have more arms.
We also spoke about
Dude, defending from imperialist. Oh my God. Oh my God. Defending from imperialist invasion is a bad thing. When people are defending are the US and when the offenders are authoritarian regimes, I want to fucking die. I want to die. Okay. I no longer want to exist on this fucking planet with people who are personally fantasizing about this potential invasion when it has not happened and saying, and that is precisely why we should literally put a fucking nuclear base on there or something, because how else will we defend ourselves? This is pure American mania through and through. Okay. The solution to the gun violence is what? More guns, of course. What do you mean? What are you, some kind of homosexual? Obviously, the solution to gun violence is put fucking literal guns outside of the school that immediately perish people. We will not stop until everyone is fucking dead through nuclear holocaust. Okay? It's so fucking stupid. So that's why we should deny the sales of arms to an independent country. Does Taiwan not have rights? Dude, you are, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, dude, let's do that. Let's fucking let China give Mexico all the weapons too. Give them a nuke, give them multiple nukes, and Canada too, and fucking Cuba. You will not have the same exact smoke in this situation. You would never, you will lie right now and say, no, I wouldn't care actually. I think it would be great if Mexico wanted it, but you don't want that. Okay? And it's not about weapon sales, okay? It's not even just about weapon sales. It's about fucking setting up military bases. And I knew it. I called it. You were going to be like, no, it's actually perfectly valid. You don't believe that. You just, and the only reason why you feel like you can say that is because you understand that America is the dominant superpower, okay? Chatter's trying to bait you into saying the R slur. Yeah, I think so too. I think he's just in here. It's so stupid. You're not okay with that. Are you okay with fucking Russian submarines in Cuba? I don't think so. Fuck. He's a gaming watcher. Are you okay with Russia invading Ukraine? I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm not either. What the fuck? Where is this coming from? What happened, dude? Did American arms fucking stop Russia from invading Ukraine? Because I do remember. No, it's not helping them is an issue now. No, you're trying to put words in my mouth, you dumb fuck. The Minsk agreements were infinitely better than what is going on right now. Except neither parties, your predictions certainly didn't stop them. My predictions, I'm a fucking dumbass Twitch streamer, you fucking baboon. I'm a Twitch streamer. If you view complex geopolitical events happening all around the globe from the framework of dunking on a fucking dipshit Twitch streamer like myself, you are literally the dumbest person on the fucking planet. You're even stupider than I am. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Oh my God. Ukraine Andes are so strangely psychotic. He's not even a Ukraine Andy. He doesn't care about anything. He just wants to fucking quote unquote debate so we can get a clip off and post it on a fucking subreddit. Why would my predictions stop them, you fucking idiot? What are you saying? Do you think that the world leaders are listening to a fucking Twitch streamer? No, you just wanted to say that to be like, remember when you were wrong about Ukraine? Except think about how stupid what you just said was. You are talking to a Twitch streamer. You are talking to a Twitch streamer. Think about how fucking brain broken you must be when we are talking about global events and you said, your prediction certainly didn't stop Russia from invading Ukraine. Yeah, why would I have any power in this process? I only have power over you because you have horse blinders on and you can't stop possibly pathologically, maybe even sexually being obsessed with everything that I have to say on a daily fucking basis. That is why I have power over you. I don't have power over Vladimir Putin. I certainly don't have power over Zelensky. I don't even have power over fucking American politics. But I do have power over you. I'm in your mind at all times. That's why you're in here chirping, fantasizing about positions that I don't have, trying to fucking put positions into my mouth so that you can go and, again, pathologically and obsessively go back to a fucking Discord server or a subreddit to clip this out and be like, see, I triggered him into oblivion. I'm so smart. This personally is not a reflection of how pathetic I am as a human being, that every single day of my life, I spend time in the chat rooms of another fucking content creator thinking that I'm fighting a battle for another content creator at the behest of another content creator, which has basically removed all matter of personhood from me. This is precisely the reason why your fucking friends and family have abandoned you, chatter, okay? This is why, because you spend all your every waking moment in here chirping. That's it. Oh, that's it. Okay. Isn't Palestine allying with Iran and receiving Iranian arms provoking Israel with your logic? Do you think that I'm sorry, my goal for fucking Israel is literally one unified secular nation state where everyone has all full fucking rights and the same civil liberties. So I guess one China policy would stick in that regard. Suck my fucking dick, Keith Donaldson. Dumb fuck. Yeah, one China policy and one Israel policy would be the same in that situation. The fuck do you mean? See, this is the reason why you can't make these comparisons between America's actions. Also, I'm mainly talking about Ukraine. No, you're not. You're not. None of you are actually talking about Ukraine. You actually think that Ukraine is a valuable way to try and make a moral argument for American imperialism because Ukraine is on the right side of the invasion of Ukraine. Russia is on the wrong side. So you think this is a good way to reassert American dominance, American military dominance around the world. See, we're the good guys on this one because Russia are the objectively bad guys, which they are. That's it. The only reason why you care about Ukraine is not because you give a shit about the Ukrainian population being decimated right now. You only give a shit about it because you're not even like a Raytheon executive or whatever, because those guys care about Ukraine because that's a great place to just dump and offload all of their fucking surplus military gear and continue this war and, you know, destroy the Russian military. Like, it's great. It's fucking wonderful. And our military contracts are still stable. And we haven't actually removed like $52 billion in the military budget because Joe Biden, in the gayest way possible, chose to leave Afghanistan. The only reason why you care about Ukraine is because you win Reddit arguments that way in your mind. That's it, which is the most pathetic reason to defend an entire fucking country getting eviscerated right now. Okay? That is the saddest reason. And sometimes it's not even about winning Reddit arguments. Sometimes it's just specifically because you think that like a lot of people yell at me over this position. So this is a way for you to engage and get clips off, maybe get the pro-Ukrainian like Hasan is actually anti-Russian people, YouTubers, to come back and make some new clips off this, which is sad because you can't really do that as much lately, because I very clearly, every single time I bring up Ukraine, will openly try to ensure that there's no clip chimp happening by every single time saying the unjustifiable invasion of Ukraine by Russia. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but that has always been my position. Yet now I have to reiterate it every single time I talk, because I know these fucking pieces of shit are trying to clip me out of context. They're like, make new fucking videos about it. Not sure what I would gain from winning an argument. Well, would it make me happy? I wasn't even talking to you. Who the fuck are you? Dude. I don't even know who the fuck you are. I wasn't even referring to you at all. Why are you taking ownership over this? It's kind of funny that I just said all of those things and you chimed in specifically to be like, well, you must be talking about me. Go outside, brother. Why are you posting your own L's? Who the fuck are you? Why are you taking this personally? What's happening? It is kind of crazy how many people fucking immediately engage in the pylon so quickly. They were like, oh, this is it. This is our moment. And then as soon as I'm yelling at one chatter, 8 other chatters chimed in and were like, well, I feel attacked right now. What the fuck's going on? Brother, so I don't understand the criticism. You say I'm a no-lifer for saying Taiwan has a right to defend itself like everyone else. No, that's not what you're saying. You're saying that China is going to invade Taiwan eventually, okay? You are fantasizing about a military conquest that might happen hypothetically in the fucking future, and literally saying that's why we have to turn Taiwan into a military base for American interests. You are like a bot in the way that you are trying to defend this position. Okay, while also pointing to Ukraine and being like, look how wonderful that worked out for Ukraine. It's fucking idiotic. I'm not your buddy. I'm not your friend. And you also cynically try to fucking be like, oh, your predictions didn't stop the Ukrainian invasion from happening anyway. Like, you've already dropped the idea that you were like a charitable chatter who was genuinely interested in hearing my fucking perspective. Okay, I don't give a fuck about like any sort of nationalistic sentiment coming from the Chinese government about how like Taiwan is actually a part of China and those are Chinese people or whatever. This is not a nationalistic argument. I do, however, understand that currently as it stands, the situation is not the situation between Taiwan and China in the way that we do strategic ambiguity. It's infinitely better right now for Taiwanese people and Chinese people to collaborate economically with one another than to fucking turn around and turn Taiwan into Ukraine. This makes no sense to me. It's so fucking stupid. You literally are fantasizing about turning Taiwan into Ukraine right now. And it's weird because I don't think you're a Raytheon executive. I don't think your parents are in the State Department. You're just arguing for this position specifically to posture for American State Department interests online. You're not even on Reddit right now. You're not even developing Reddit karma. You're just fantasizing about war and more war at the prospect of more war. But real, can you explain what a proxy war is? These dudes don't get it. No, they will never get it because even though they know what fucking proxy wars are. They don't think that America is doing it. America is always seemingly on the side of democracy and justice. America would never actually prop up fascist militias overseas to, you know, do any kind of dismantling of social organizing or people democratically voting for a fucking socialist government. Okay? Chinese people don't war with Taiwan. Taiwanese people don't want war with China. Americans want war between China and Taiwan. Make this make sense. Yes, you've been noticed twice. Ever heard of the library socialism movement? No. Anyway. You haven't missed the Alex Jones coverage yet. We haven't gotten there yet. President James Monroe asserted the right and interest of the United States to oppose foreign powers meddling in the Western Hemisphere, an idea that later became known as the Monroe Doctrine. China used to always say they want a peaceful reunification. They still say that. When the U.S. started training and arming Taiwan, China removed the word peaceful to the so the U.S. is what's going to lead to an invasion instead of a future peaceful reunification. Sad for Taiwan. No, they still say that they want a peaceful reunification. It's not like they've changed that attitude. It's not like there haven't been opportune moments. Okay? You're saying that Russia would be more likely to invade Ukraine if Ukraine had more arms, US arms before the invasion? The fuck are you talking about? Ukraine did have US arms before the invasion. What are we talking about? And Russia still invaded. So your argument doesn't make sense. I think the more likely situation would have been to not interfere in the events of either sovereign nation, or at least keeping your involvement in a sovereign nation, not by propping up civil society organizations or whatever, but just like simply having a collaborative relationship, a collaborative trade relationship with said nation, including what Russia was doing prior to the invasion of Ukraine. I don't think I will ever be able to get this through to your dense fucking skull because of how American you are. The Ameroid brain, the Angloid brain, has only been evolved into the Ameroid brain, which is even more fucking nutty about arms deals. Okay? I will never be able to get this through your fucking dense skull. There is no way that you will understand what I am saying. More weapons does not mean fucking more peace. But there's no way that I can describe this to you because you are a Western chauvinist. You are the brain rot that is destroying this country from within as well. It is the same exact principle. Liberals turn into Republican gun nuts when it comes down to defense of an entire nation. You literally think the only way, why are you being racist? Don't assume my race. Ameroid? You think Ameroid is a race? Ameroid is a race, chatter? Are you so horny to be vilified and victimized that when I said Ameroid, a completely made up fucking take, not even a real thing at all, that you immediately jumped and said, wow, why would you assume my race? Oh, yes, dude. Calling me an American, calling me an American or a Westerner by a different term is actually Angloid. Oh, I'm being racist towards the Angloids. Okay, well, guess what, dude? You can always be mad at the British, okay? It is always valid. After all, they are responsible for America. Anytime throughout history. Friday crybaby chatters are the worst. I mean, this is like, I'm Chinese, and literally every time there's been provocation from the U.S. or Taiwanese side, the response on the mainland side has almost always been increasing economic ties or benefits to Taiwanese diaspora in the mainland. Most recently, Beijing made it easier for Taiwanese to settle and start business in Fujian. I think this pretty much proves that China wants peace rather than war, in my opinion. Yes. Chinese actions overall have been infinitely less violent in terms of the way that they do their politics in comparison to America. Okay, obviously it's still more violent, especially when it comes to his domestic affairs, in comparison to other nations or whatever. But you cannot look at the way China conducts itself versus the way America conducts itself on global affairs and say, well, one side is going to be violent in the future, maybe, and therefore we should be scared and be more violent preemptively. Therein lies the Israel equation, the phenomena of Israel's violent deterrence measures. Okay? What do I always say? Whenever I'm talking about any issue, you cannot be violent with the hopes that there will be more violence in the future, with the fears that you have more violence coming to you in the future. This is basically American foreign policy. Israel's valid because their security concerns are valid. America is valid in everything that they do against China because we are preemptively posturing against the war. China is going to do war maybe in the future. What if China starts doing shit that we do all the time? Okay? Do you understand? It is the same mindset that the reactionary Western chauvinist always fucking advocates for. Whether it be domestic affairs such as like the Civil War, for example, such as what would have happened in the aftermath of Reconstruction. If we gave the newly freed slaves all of the rights and liberties, then they'll take over and do to us what we've done to them. It is this fear that always guides people. It is this irrational fear that is never born out of history, unless we're talking about like specific moments throughout history, like the Haitian Revolution, I guess. But it is this very unsubstantiated fear, this hysterical fear that causes reactionary movements to thrive in the aftermath of key moments throughout time where good things have happened, where progress has happened. That fear is also the greatest burden to any sort of peacemaking, any sort of fucking disarmament. Oh man, we have to keep beefing up the defenses of every single nation surrounding China, because what if China turns violent one day? They haven't yet. It's the same idea where Americans love saying this very funny thing. Ameroids love saying this very funny thing where they'll go on television and be like, well, if this country has nukes, what if they use it? They're madmen. It's like, bro, you're American. Do you hear yourself? I heard you specifically yesterday mention how you think using a nuke was awesome in Japan and how it was totally valid. You're the only country that has ever used a nuke on a fucking civilian population. Fuck you mean? What if they have nukes and use them? Anyway. Would you consider yourself an isolationist? No, of course not. I'm a fucking internationalist, dude. Are you kidding me? I'm a product of American assimilation in some ways. Look at me. My name is Hasan. I grew up in Turkey my whole fucking life, but you cannot distinguish me from any American by the name of Hank that fucking grew up here in Kansas or whatever. I am simply not a war hawk or a Western chauvinist in general. That's the difference. Anyway. And to the people saying, what about China in like Xinjiang, right? saying that, well, you are, what if the Muslims in Taiwan don't want to be genocided? What? China is not even fucking anti-Islam across the board. Get the fucking terminology right, dumbass. What are you talking about? They used anti-Muslim movements and mass surveillance and cultural genocide in Xinjiang. That's not that what do you mean? That you think China is going dude, you are so American brained. What are you saying? You think China's going around fucking up other countries where there's Muslim people there? No, that's America, dumbass. I think you're mistaking China for America now. Read as trying to compare Taiwan and Palestine to out you as a hypocrite. I know, but it's not going to work because I want unification in that situation, okay? I want unification for the Palestinians and I want unification for all of the Taiwanese and Chinese population so they can cooperate perfectly well without American interference, American involvement, and war. They certainly pick and choose groups of genocide, right? That's a risk Taiwan doesn't want. Dude, shut the fuck up. Taiwan literally fucking recently had a monument to Japanese war criminals. Or no, was it vice versa? No, it was, yeah. What are you talking about? Oh, Taiwan doesn't want fucking genocide. Suck my dick. Taiwan, in the way that it operates, in many instances, is just operating as a fucking American client state. They literally had a monument to Japanese genocidaires. What the fuck are you talking about? Taiwan doesn't want genocide. This doesn't mean that like the entire Taiwanese population want genocide, but it's such a laughable fucking notion to be like, oh, that's the reason. Because the Taiwanese Muslim population, so we have Confederate statutes, should we invade it? At no point did I say it's valid to invade Taiwan. You are so violent and so bloodthirsty that you cannot see the world outside of these incredibly weird black and white perspectives. You were talking about Xinjiang, which is probably what that chatter meant. He's too dumb to know you were already addressing what he was alluding to. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Taiwanese Muslims, he said. Huh. Hasan genuinely asking how this take about China will be violent in the future is a prominent sentiment, even in the Middle East, where there are recipients of extreme violence from the U.S. I can't wrap my head around this. They commemorated Taiwanese youths who volunteered to fight for Japan, to be specific. I know. Maybe telling them it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of war would help them understand. No, dude, this person doesn't care. He's going to fucking start talking about Tiananmen Square in a second. It's like the other guy that I was talking to earlier who was like, oh, what about the pedophile Prophet Muhammad? You know what I mean? So you're trying to be invaded because they're genocidal? What are you talking about? Dude, you're just posturing. I have no idea what the fuck you mean at this point, okay? No one should be invaded. Why is the baboon-like mind of the American always so hyper-focused on invasion? There's one speed and one speed only. I'm over here saying, currently, China is not invading Taiwan. Currently, they have a relatively nice trade relationship with one another. Why not continue that? And you're like, no, you don't understand. I don't want that to continue. I want China to invade Taiwan. What if they do one day? Okay, well, what if they don't? I also love the notion that an American will be like, what about Muslims, man? That's so funny. Yeah, no, you're right. Americans love Muslims.